Well, hello there. My name is A.L. Thick Madame. Thank you for dropping by my channel. Y'all, let me stop acting stupid. Anyway, so, y'all, I'm coming at y'all with that last installment of that good old Survivor R. Kelly, y'all. It's too much. Let me get right. Lord, y'all, it was so much. I had to actually take notes this time because I keep leaving stuff out whenever I'm like, let me hurry up and do this video because my mind will be focused so much on a specific thing that happened that I leave stuff out, y'all. So I had to take notes this time. So, all right, let me get into things. So, this was the fifth and sixth part, which is the last part of it. Came on last night. The absolute most happened again, y'all. I was tired. I didn't think no more really could happen, but of course it did. So, first off, let me say this. All these people that were living in and or are from where R. Kelly is from, which is what, Chicago, that was sitting up here supporting him all throughout all of this. They would sit up there and get on the TV while these news cameras and other random cameras were rolling, and they would sit up there and be like, how dare you? Why y'all worried about that man? He ain't do it. Y'all just want to put the black man down. Like all this other stuff. Like, and it's like, there were so many receipts. And it's like, my thing is this, even if somebody was lying, my thing is for that to be an allegation over and over and over again, I'd be like, okay, let me take a step back. Forget the fact that I like this man's music. I need to know if he actually is real as far as what he's selling us versus what he is behind closed doors. And a lot of people feel like, oh, well, you shouldn't worry about that. That's his personal life. But no, his personal life is doing the absolute most to the point of where, you don't care about nobody else. He literally, the way he acts is all about self. And that's crazy. So anyway, let me get into this because I'm being really got off topic and get really focused on the wrong things. so, so there was a family, a husband and wife. They were the Savages, and at one point in time, and I did see this, they had gotten on TV and they were saying, our daughter is with R. Kelly, and we want to get the word out, and he's a predator, all this other stuff, y'all. At the time, she was like 17, if I'm not mistaken. Look, this is the main thing, the first thing I want to say about them. I'm sorry, I don't care if y'all kin to them, whatever. When I went to college, even though I was grown, of age, all that stuff, when my actual grades came in, I showed my parents either on the computer or when the actual physical report card or whatever you want to call it came in to the house. You know what I'm saying? They saw it one or both ways. So they tried to sit up there and say that they thought that she was in college, and when they went up there to try to enroll her in some classes or pay for classes or whatever for the next semester, they were looking like, we ain't got nobody here by that name. Like, what you talking about? So that's when they actually realized something was going on. So their backstory is their daughter, just like everybody else who has been on here, she wanted to be a singer. Either they wanted to be a singer, dancer, actor, anything that they felt like he was going to be able to put them on by having a talent in doing. They showed like little snippets of her singing, and she really can, or whatever sing. Cool. So at the time, she's like 17. And I think this is the one that's 17. Did I mess that up? I think she's the one that's 17. Anyway, whatever age she was still not of age. She might have been a little bit younger. Anyway, this was when these people were in Florida, y'all. So anyway, like I said, I don't understand. They sat up there and they made it seem like she was going to college. Well, at one point she had started going to college. So, but before that, she was finishing up her classes and all this other stuff. And she came back and graduated, and then she started college. At this time, wait a minute. So if I'm not mistaken, this was the same girl who went on TMZ and she was like, there's nothing going on with me. I think her name was Joycelyn. She said ain't nothing going on. They were asking her questions. She was like, no, I'm not being held captive and all this other stuff. She's not being held against her will, whatever. Y'all, so there was a mother that was on the previous segment of Surviving R. Kelly, and they had her come back on again, y'all. So her daughter's name is Dominique, and she is somebody who was actually there with Joycelyn, and they were like cool. They met on MySpace during the time where he actually allowed, which one? Was it Dominique? He allowed one of them, I think it was Dominique, to get online and talk to her and all this other stuff. No. Y'all, it's so many girls, I'm getting confused. Anyway, the person that I'm talking about right now, her name is Dominique. And so what happened was she was like, what's going on is since they were doing the taping of this in LA, she was like, well, let me see if I can, try to find her. I'm already be here. From what my knowledge, from what I know, she is somewhere in LA. And they say that he puts them up in these specific hotels. So they ended up having a camera crew go with her. She went to this hotel. They said she wasn't there. So she said she saw a random black dude that was kind of like outside the hotel and was like, and described her daughter. And he was like, well, there's another hotel that's, I think it was, I've seen that before where you'll have a Marriott and then it'll be another entity that's the same difference, either next door or across the street. She said she didn't even see that one. So she ended up going across the street and ended up talking to the manager. And the manager was like, she tried to get the manager to call up to the room and say, it's Mother's Day weekend. No, this is what she told him. That it's Mother's Day weekend. And, I'm trying to see my daughter. I want to surprise her. Could you tell her to come down because she has a package? So the manager tried to call up there and just, lure her down there to say she had a package, but she wouldn't come. So then he was like, well, if you want me to, I'll take you up to her. So she was like, oh, okay, cool. Ended up taking her up to the room, y'all. The way it had it initially, they had her open the door and then it went to commercial. So I was like, I wonder if she gonna slam this door in her mama's face. Like, I'm sorry. Now, I don't mean to laugh like that, but I'm just like, oh my God. Like, it's so many different things that I'm thinking in my mind, like, okay, well, what is she gonna do when she see her mama? Y'all, so it came back on, and she opened the door, and like, she just looked like shocked and caught, and like, her face showed so many different emotions that I was like, oh my gosh, is she gonna even let her mama in the room? So her mama, kind of opened the door up a little bit more, and she was like, Mom, I can't believe you're here, and all this other stuff. Her mama hugged her, she hugged her back, and she was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're here. All this other stuff, trying to talk to her. So they kind of halfway almost closed the door. And so she was trying to talk to her, and then, her mama ended up kind of getting, I guess, led back out the door. And so she was like, somebody in there? And she was like, yeah, somebody in here. At first, I'm thinking R. Kelly in there, but come to find out the girl, Joycelyn, is in there. So I'm like, this is the other family's daughter. What in the world going on right here? And keep in mind, this particular girl, the girl Dominique, R. Kelly had gotten to the point with her where she was like one of his main girls, and he wanted her to look like a dude. So he had her have her hair cut off. She literally like looked like a full-on stud. Like when she opened that door, she looked like some of the like almost rough-looking studs that I've seen. Like she really did look like a full-on stud. I was like, what is going on? And she like really is a pretty girl. That's why I was like, she looks so rough that day. So, got to the point where, she was talking to her. She was like, please, her mom was talking to her. She was like, please, Dominique, please come with me. Come with me. I love you. All I want you to do is come home. Please come with me. She pleaded with her. And so the whole time she was like, I can't, I can't do that or whatever and all this other stuff. So the mama ended up leaving, right? She go outside, she cried a little bit. And at first I was going to say, I feel like her tears were a little bit fake for the camera, but I I really don't know. Some people, their tears aren't, they don't cry like I feel like they should be crying. And that's why I sometimes feel like people are fake. But I don't know. I kind of feel like it's real now after what followed. So she's still outside of the building, right? And the same manager who led her up to her daughter's room ended up coming out there and was like, we got your daughter on hold at the front desk. And like before he even came out there, she ended up getting on the phone calling, I think she called Jocelyn's parents and was like, she said Jocelyn was up there, called either Jocelyn's parents or somebody and told them that she was up there, she wasn't alone, the other girl was in there, all this other stuff. So like I said, the manager came out there and said she was on hold. She ended up going back inside, talking to her. Her daughter said to meet her, come back at 6 o'clock. So they go to other segments with other people during this time, y'all. Look, so I'm sorry, I don't care what nobody say. So with her situation, the mama, the daughter had gone with R. Kelly before she became of age, right? And she stopped going. So she like had this whole life, like she was in school, she was doing everything she was supposed to do, so her mama thought. Until one day, one of her friends or somebody, one of her friends or one of her daughter's friends called her and was like, well, do you know where Dominique is? And so she was like, yeah, we're her friends. She was like, she had the movies or somewhere hanging out with her female friends. People like around her age. And she was like, nah, she was R. Kelly. Y'all, so anyway, she was like, she didn't think anything of the situation because by this time she's in, I guess she had her moments where she was with R. Kelly and then she was like, I'm done with him. And then she was in school. She was like in a technical school. And her mama was doing something with Bill and Cody. And she was doing something with, I forgot what it's called. But anyway, she actually was like doing college type work and, school work and going to work, doing all this other stuff. And then it got to the point where she just started back dealing with him again. And then this time she was just there with him. And then that's when she got turned into the tomboy or whatever he wanted her to be. Because I've heard that R. Kelly has dealt with men and likes men too. So she was supposed to be his version of a man. I'm just like, oh gosh. Y'all, so like I said, like I was trying to say, I keep forgetting to say this. So within the same story, when her daughter came to her and was like, look, I'm about to go to, what's it, Chicago? He has houses all over. She was like, well, I'm about to go with him. I'm about to go and live with him, and maybe in the house in Atlanta. One of them. And so she was like, wasn't nothing I can. She was like, well, wasn't nothing I can do at this time because she was of age. So I just gave her my blessings and just prayed for her. I'm sorry, my parents, given the fact that we all have seen all this stuff in the news about R. Kelly and all that, my parents would have went all the way off, both of them. Despite if I'm 18 and older. My mama has always said to me, I will always be 28 years older than you. Which means I'm your mama. If you try me, it don't matter because I'm always older than you. You always gonna be a child, basically. I mean, not really to say a child, but I'm just saying. But my parents would have actually tried and not been like, well, you 18, so ain't nothing I can say. Like, she literally didn't even try to like talk some sense in her daughter and then let her go off with him. So in a way, I'm like, that's still your fault. I don't care what you say. You lumped in there with R. Kelly and everybody else who did not protect the people who ended up in his care, so to speak, in his houses and his cult, whatever you want to say it is, y'all. Anyway, so something that I found out was that R. Kelly wrote that Whitney Houston song. What is it? I look to you, I turn to you, I look to you, whatever it is. And I was just like, oh. And y'all, I must have turned the TV off when Whitney Houston's funeral was on because I watched the whole funeral. I'm pretty sure that when he came on the screen, I turned it off because I didn't want nothing to do with him. Because I don't remember him performing it. Well, apparently, I mean, he sat up there and performed that actual song. And then they were trying to read, talking about some, yeah, he sat up there. You could tell that the pastors were accepting of him getting up there doing this as if it was his testimony. I was just like, no, he probably felt bad because she died, and that song was something, as usual, it probably had something to do with something that he ain't had no business doing as usual. Every time you looked up, he got somebody pregnant, he made a song about it. He was having all these crazy orgies and threesomes and everything else. He made songs about those, like very sexually suggestive songs. All of it was all the same difference. He had a plan. Every single song that he ever made, even the Trapped in the Closet songs, they all did the most. Y'all, so anyway. Y'all. So this woman, this is what I started to look at the screen like, okay, what is going on? So there was this woman that popped up there. Her name is supposed to be Kitty something. She was 33 years old when she met R. Kelly, right? So they met, and she said he did like that typical guy thing where he was shaking her hand, and he like was shaking it real slow, like he didn't want to let it go, and then he slipped her his number. So they, started dealing with each other, and they basically became a couple. And so she is so out of the loop to the point of where one of her friends, I guess, found out that she was dating R. Kelly, was like, have you seen the tape? And so she was like, what tape? She ended up searching the tapes because by this time, the internet is, really out there and it has all this stuff on it. Somebody put the tape up there and she saw it, and she said that she was shocked because she said she was shocked and she immediately felt disrespected. And the girl that was in it, she said she'd met her before, and she'd met her like a couple of weeks prior to seeing the video. So I'm just like, and again, this is Sparkle's cousin, y'all. So I'm just like, this is some foolishness. This don't make no sense. And so she called him and asked him about the tape. And so he was like, he immediately got defensive, of course, was like, that ain't me on that tape, blah, 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 stuff. He was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And so, she said that she had to make it seem like someone else sent it to her or showed it to her instead of that she went out on her own after somebody mentioned it and looked it up in an effort to try to make it seem that make it so that he wouldn't get upset, which still didn't work because when he got in town, he politely beat her down. Oh, Lord, y'all. So this is something that I find, I don't even want to say interesting. I mean, it ain't even surprising. So he wouldn't allow her to watch TV at all. But when he did watch anything and she was privy enough to be in the room with him, he was watching Dance Moms. And anybody who knows what Dance Moms is, these are mothers who have really super duper small children who are in these dancing competitions and all that stuff. So yeah, he was watching that. He stayed watching that 24/7 whenever he was in town and wasn't doing that. And when he watched TV, that's what he was watching. Wasn't watching no reality TV shows, wasn't watching the news. He was watching Dance Moms. Come on now, I'm tired. Lord. And of course, as he did with the other women, girls, whatever, he would punish them whenever he felt that he was being disrespected. They was looking at somebody, they was speaking to somebody, and they ain't had no business. Lord, so y'all, the person that was like behind the black screen or whatever they call it, I don't know why I can't think of the name of the person who's hiding their identity. They were in the middle of talking, and so they started breaking down and crying. And so the person asked them why would they break it down, and then they had the nerve to say that they didn't realize how bad it was until they were actually saying all these things that have happened out loud. And I'm just like, it's like they didn't realize that he was this terrible person and these things were terrible acts until they were just saying it out loud. I'm just like, you don't go somewhere and sit down. I really can't. And they made a point to say that he had gotten to the point after all these allegations happened, he got acquitted, that he started getting, I guess, smarter about the situation. And so he would have these ladies to either make up lies and write down these fabricated lies and sign it, or actually just sign things anyway, write stuff down and sign them. And he was still video recording people. So if anything were to ever pop off, he would be vindicated completely because they are basically saying, hey, I'm here on my own free will. I want to be recorded. Whatever the lie was in that moment that he wanted to write down, they did it. And as always, everything that everybody did, they did it, even if they didn't want to do it, because he is R. Kelly. That is such an amazing reason to do it, y'all. Anyway, so back to Dominique. So Dominique's mama got to the hotel early because she wanted to see her daughter. Like she was so excited that she was just like, look, I don't care if she said to be back here at 6. I'm here earlier. And so she tried to go ahead and go in there, right? And they, the manager ended up pulling her in the office and was like, so what happened was your daughter called the police on you, and we have a duty to report this. So we're gonna end up having to do a police report if you don't leave this place. And so she was in there and trying to figure out, how is this even possible? And she told her to come back. So what happened was she was like, I'm not leaving it. She went back out to the little van and she was like, I don't care. I came too far. I'm not giving up on my daughter. I'm right here. I'm right here. I'm not going to leave my daughter. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. She ended up calling until she could, I guess she remembered what the room number was. And so she called the room and asked to speak to her. Well, not even asked to speak to her. She knew her voice. So she was like, Dominique. And so she was talking to her. She was like, I know it wasn't you. I know you didn't. So apparently somebody was lying, or somebody else who was a part of R. Kelly's camp did all this calling of the police and all this other stuff. And so she was like, baby, I ain't leaving. I already know you didn't call the police on me, whatever. So it ended up I was like, what is happening? It sounded like Joycelyn was leaving, but it ended up being her daughter. Her daughter got her stuff and left. And she went with her mama. So it was so crazy. She was like, baby, you all right? You all right? It's okay. Whatever, y'all. So then, here we go. So there was this other girl. Her name was Azriel. She was 17 years old when she first met R. Kelly. And this is the stupid part. The crazy part. I guess I'll say that. Her mother and father took her to an R. Kelly concert. And this was well after everything. Again, all this stuff that came out about him, even though he got off. This was for her father's birthday. It was some birthday gift where he wanted to go to one of R. Kelly's concerts. So R. Kelly came down in the audience and pulled her out of the audience, basically, and pulled her up on stage. So this daughter, she can sing. And they were like, we know what the news and all that stuff said about him, but in my mind, I feel like I'm her father. I'm sitting right here. I'm watching the whole thing unfold, so ain't nothing gonna happen. I'm sitting right here. Cool, whatever. So they waiting after the concert. Don't nobody come. They trying to figure out what the crap going on. So what happened was R. Kelly trying to make it seem like he was auditioning her and he wanted to see what she sounded like and all this other stuff, by himself, basically. And so, he wanted to see what he could do to start working with her immediately. Okay, cool, whatever. So what their plan was that if anything was going to come of this, whether she was going to be in their city, which was somewhere in Florida, or if he was going to be in Chicago or wherever he was going to be, because he had houses in Atlanta, Chicago, all these other places. Whatever he was going to do, they were going to have a responsible adult there. So they said either she was going to be there, the mama, the daddy, or one of their sisters, which was the older sister. So the girl sat up there, set it off one day. She didn't go to school like she was supposed to. She went to a hotel in Kissimmee, or however they call it, whatever they call it, Florida, and was supposedly auditioning for him there. And so they said that they found out about it. The parents, they were both at work, and they were like, no. They politely got off work and went down there immediately because their mind was automatically like, okay, no, you around R. Kelly by yourself? We already had this discussion. If you're going to do anything, it's going to be with a responsible adult around you. So they went down there. They saw her car outside, and they saw his tour bus. So they knew that they were at the right hotel. So they tried to go in there. The hotel going to try to lie to them, tell me, oh, ain't nobody here. by that name, R. Kelly's not here. And they were like, you're lying. My daughter's car is outside and his tour bus is outside. So y'all lying. So they ended up walking around the hotel, knocking on every single door, and until they got to the point where they were like, no, you can't go around knocking on doors like this, whatever. So then they were able to convince one of his security guards or one of his people in his camp to come down and talk to them. And they were like, look, we need to see our daughter right now. Y'all need to bring her out here. We need to know what's going on. So then her daughter came out and was like, what are y'all doing here? Y'all messing up my chances. I'm auditioning for him. And so R. Kelly, even before all this happened, when they were going around, the security guard was like, when they did verify and say, well, she is here. I guess they were trying to make it seem like, well, we can't say that people are here and then people bum rush in trying to see a celebrity and all this stuff. But then they're going to sit up there and say, well, yeah, she's here, but she's auditioning for him. And they were like, we don't care what she's doing. She need to come out. We supposed to be in there with her. If anything is going on, we supposed to be there with her. So she ended up coming out. She upset and she mad. And she was like, y'all might have ruined my chance. I'm auditioning for him right now. And y'all might have ruined my chance. Whatever, y'all. So did all that. And, they were just relieved to see that she was okay. So it got to a point where he was like, look, I want to work with her. I want her to make it. I'm going to work with her while I'm touring. I'm going to make time for her and all this other stuff. So they was like, look, if anything going to happen, like we keep telling you, we don't mind. That's fine. If you're actually going to progress her career, because apparently she don't really do nothing or really try to shine when it comes to anything except when she starts singing, y'all. So they were like, we don't care what you do, but we're going to have a responsible adult. And so we can't get off work and just be with her all the time. So what they did was they said, you're going to have to get one of your people who we deem to be fit. So that was what the situation was for that. So then it got to a point where the sister would be there. The sister would pop in and all this other stuff too, because she was somebody who was supposed to be the responsible adult. So one day they was at some studio and she was watching her and she was like, well, I'm gonna go get some lunch and I'll be back. The girl gonna tell her sister, Azriel gonna tell her sister, yeah, what we're not gonna do is that. You can't leave. You gotta call R. Kelly and tell him where you going and what you doing and how long you gonna be gone. And she was like, who you talking to? My daddy. That ain't my daddy. And my daddy's in Florida. I was like, Lord, no. Or wherever the daddy was at. It was like, yeah, that ain't my daddy. He ain't my daddy. I ain't got to answer to him. So she went off to go get something to eat. So when she came back, Azriel was gone. And so she was asking the people, like, okay, where is she at? It was like, oh, they're gone. It was like, but where are they at, though? So they did the most. And she, like, set it all the way off. Like, you need to bring my sister out here right now. I don't know where my sister at. Y'all need to bring my sister out here right now. Set it all the way off. So then her sister came from out of somewhere. And it was like, what's wrong? Trying to act like everything is all fine and dandy. We were like, you know what the deal is yet again. Like, I was so tired. So it got to the point where they ended up taking the sister that's supposed to be like looking over her and making it like, they basically like took her to a McDonald's alley and like shoving her out, and she didn't know where she was because she was in a whole other city that ain't had nothing to do with where they was from. And they said if you tell anybody about what's been happening, then something might happen to your sister. You might not see your sister again and all this other stuff. So she ended up calling her parents, and they automatically thought something was wrong, but she tried to play it off like wasn't nothing wrong. So they was like, yeah, we ain't got time for this. We're gonna fly down tomorrow. So they flew down. Yeah, flew out, y'all. They flew down the next day to wherever she was at, in Atlanta, I think. And R. Kelly and everybody was like, we don't understand why you came here. You know, she's fine, as you can see. So the daughter automatically changed her tune and was like, yeah, everything's fine. I don't know why they came. I was just, trying to give them a little update. So then, y'all, fast forward a little time. He ended up doing the most and like taking her, basically, like really not dealing with her like that no more. And they did the most. I was just so tired. So it got to the point where she ended up having to tell her parents what really was going on. And so the father got on there and was like, I just wish she would have told me what it really was when it first happened, because we could have probably nipped it in the bud then. And the this woman, they ended up doing the Me Too. They were talking about the Me Too movement, and they were talking about Mute R. Kelly, which was something that was created to get his music off the radio. That was the initial thing that they were trying to do, just get his music off the radio. So then, like, people were suggesting that they actually try to get it removed off of all streaming services and all that stuff. And at first, it didn't go over well. So it had gotten to a point where people started kind of like catching on, like, okay, let us open our eyes. We see he's a predator for real now. Let's stop, coddling him and accepting the things that he's doing to our girls. And so they end up having all these, like, the boycotts. His concerts kept getting canceled left and right, and he gonna get online telling someone, I don't know why my concerts are getting canceled, but I promise you guys, I'm gonna get down to the bottom of it, and all this other stuff, y'all. I can't do it. He just irks my soul, y'all. So as usual, Azriel was being controlled, and I think that she's still with him. The Savages, their daughter was being controlled, and her name is Joycelyn, I think. She is still with him somewhere. So there was this one girl, before I forget, she was the one who was in the news in recent years, like within the past 2 years, who came forward about having an STD. So what happened was the Savages, she called the Savages when she was finally free of him, because basically, to make a long story short, everything with her was basically the same exact difference. She, wait a minute. I think was she the one? No, I don't think she was the one. Because this was a whole nother woman. Anyway, this particular woman, she was like, I ain't got time for this. She got tired of all the foolishness with R. Kelly, and she left, right? So she was talking to the Savages, if I'm not mistaken, that particular family, but their daughter was still in there, and they were like, well, I've seen her, and she's still in there with R. Kelly. She's still alive and all this other stuff or whatever. And so they were like, well, I hope you've been getting tested. And so she was like, what are you talking about? And they were like, well, we know that our daughter has incurable disease. You should get tested. So she immediately went and got tested. She found out that she had herpes. She got it from him. So she was like, I'm not going to sit up here and wait years, 20, 30 years after the fact and say something. I'm going to say something now, because whether it was somebody on his level or some regular around the way guy from my city, I still would put them on blast. So she ended up, going to the news outlets and all the other people who would listen, gave them the information, put herself out there, said, this is my name. I have this. I got it from him. Anytime any allegations came out against him, he denied it. Just like he did with this case. He said he denied he doesn't have any STDs, whatever. So, but yeah, that girl was done with him. She, politely got up and left. So then there was this other woman. She was like 35 years old when she met him, but she was a super fan. She was always one of them same heifers that would sit up there after all these things had been put out there. The tape is out there. Every time you look up, he's in pictures with super duper underage girls, cheesing harder than a mug. When he in a picture with a regular age woman, he like this. But when he with the little girl, he like there. See, all 32, setting it off, got his hand all up on him, hugging them closer than he's hugging the actual women. Like, he be doing the most. So she was a super fan, and she was one of those who would always set it off like, I don't know what y'all talking about. R. Kelly is everything. You could not tell her anything about R. Kelly. So he ended up talking to her, rolling up on her, and they ended up getting together and being in a relationship. And what they would do is they had a long distance relationship. I think she said she lived in Atlanta and he was living in Chicago at the time. This was like 2014 or something like that when they were together. So they were having a long distance relationship, and she would fly to him and he would fly to her, and they would have sex and all this other stuff. So he ended up having a show one night in Chicago, maybe somewhere, wherever he was having his show. She ended up being about to leave. She was gonna leave, right? And then one of his people was like, "Well, you need to go ahead and get your bags, or you're gonna get left. You're gonna be able to get to the next city." So she was looking like, "I don't know what you're talking about, because I'm about to go home." She basically came out there to see him and was gonna go home, but she ended up, because he's R. Kelly, like everybody else would say, she went and got her stuff and she got on the tour bus. So she ended up being taken to his, I think, Atlanta home. And she was the dummy, y'all. I was so tired of her. She sat up there. He actually was honest with her about having other women. And she said that she appreciated his honesty because she had been in a marriage before. He lied to her day in and day out, and he was cheating on her. He did all this hurtful stuff to her. So she appreciated him being honest with her. So she was cool with the other women, and they had all these sexual acts going on. Cool. So they ended up doing the current interview, and they ended up taking her to the Atlanta house where he had all these women at. And y'all know he ended up getting evicted out of that because he was like over $30,000 behind in rent. So he got evicted, and they were able to get access to the house. So she went in the house. She said the house looks completely different from what it looked like before, and she was gonna go to the room that he had her in, and they had the key in the door for her to unlock it, but she said, I don't even think I can go in there. I'm just gonna go to this other room. It was a room that she called the black room because at the time everything in there was black. The wall was black, the bed was black, the furniture was black, literally everything in the room was black, and including everything that was going on in the room. Like everything that was happening was dark. So she said that room was probably either just a little bit worse or on the same level of terrible as it was for the room that she lived in. And she said almost every time they did anything sexual, it was terrible. Like the acts were very just disturbing. And as somebody else mentioned, in that particular house, they had buckets like in every corner, every room. And the sister that was supposed to be watching the girl who had went and auditioned for R. Kelly when he was in Florida. Apparently, she ended up going to that house, and she said she didn't understand what was going on because she went and looked in there, and she was like, "How do you go from having your own bathroom to wanting to live there in a place where you have to pee in the bucket, have to ask to go to the bathroom, you have to ask to go and pour the bucket out?" Like, I was just like, the lies, the lies you tell. Don't nobody have time. Lies. I know I wouldn't have time for it. But yeah, Asante said that she got tired of it. One day she got tired of it and she left. But this is the stupid part, y'all. She sat up here and left him. And so she went to the airport or wherever she went. And she said she called him. She said that if he had answered the phone, she probably would have went back. But apparently, maybe it was God's will he didn't answer the phone. I don't know. But he didn't answer the phone. And I'm just like... So basically, you were going to just go back had he answered the phone. But you said you were sick of everything, but you decided that you were going to leave. But in the back of your mind, you was going to come back. That's crazy. Y'all, I was so tired. So anyway. But the other girl, her name was Faith, I think. That's what her name was. She was the girl whose name was Faith was the one who got the STD, who actually put it out there. She ended up, she got with him like in 2017, May of 2017, and left him February of 2018, I think. So, yeah. But this was the thing. Faith was kind of, at the time, was like his main chick. And when he became comfortable enough with her before he really started trying to brainwash her, because he would have his little steps and how he would do it, he sat up there and he eventually introduced her to Joycelyn. So Joycelyn is the focal point. She is the one who is like the most brainwashed out of everybody, and he wants all of his women, girls, whatever, to go and have sex with her. He ended up bringing this woman to have sex with Joycelyn. He's done that with all these other people too. And if it wasn't her, it was Sparkle's cousin, which I don't know what her name was, is, whatever. So he's just a sicko, y'all. I just don't understand. I really don't understand. So um I'm gonna say a few more things and then I'm gonna get off of here. So before I forget, Dominique's whether y'all knew it or not, Dominique got away when her mama came and got her, but like 3 days after that, she went back and then she ended up coming back home. So she felt like, oh no, I'm disobeying daddy, so let me go back. And then, I don't know how she got back out again. I don't know if her mama set it off and went down there and got her again. It was like, don't do it no more or what, but she left again, and supposedly she's still out from under R. Kelly's thumb. Also, I just want to say this. I don't care. I don't care if you're kin to her. I don't care if you're kin to anybody who I have talked about. I don't care, because people are trash. Andrea Kelly, like I said before, I never knew of her existence at all until she got on Hollywood Exes, which was a reality TV show that came out quite a few years ago. I was shocked. I was like, in my mind, when I first heard about her being his ex-wife, I was like, maybe this was when he was first coming out or before he became somebody, because I literally had never heard him say anything about a wife. Most people who are married, they say, I want to thank God, I want to thank my wife, I want to thank my children, I want to thank my mom and my daddy. He ain't say nothing about a wife ever to my knowledge. So anyway, back to what I was saying. Andrea Kelly is trash. When she was on the show, she made a point to let people know that she has no affiliation with him. She does not play his music, because this dude who was trying to leech on, I said what I said, leech on, not latch, leech. He was leeching, and he looked almost like R. Kelly a little bit. But anyway, he was trying to get his music career off the ground, and she sat up there, tried to marry him, and that didn't work out. And I think they got married, and she realized that he really was just after, the fame that her ex-husband had. And I was just like I wasn't here for it anyway. Then, like I said, like I tried to be here for her, but then like a couple of years ago, like a year or two ago, she sitting up here on social media on live, had some of I think it was Step in the Name of Love or something playing in the background. She was like, yeah, that's my baby daddy. Yeah, that's his song. And then she would try to sing along with it. And I'm just like, you made a point before to make it seem like you are done with him. You don't have anything to do with his music, but you want to sit up there. And I'm pretty sure she knows about the music and it's all the music's connections. So why would you sit up here and play any of his music? Like, if I was in her situation, now see, my thing, I'm not in her situation. So every now and again, if it come on a radio station or somebody play it, I think I'll be okay to sit through it, but I'm not going to set it off and go somewhere and try to buy his music. But she really was like, all up on his, what. And I'm just like, she kind of was making it seem like, that's my baby daddy. Y'all can't say nothing about my baby daddy. That's my man. That's my boo. That's my baby daddy. And I was just like, you keep trying to make everybody believe that you hate him so much. But it seems like when it's convenient for her, this is when the woe is me, I'm victim, hear me roar, Andrea Kelly comes out. Because first thing I would have done after I got my kids away from him was to go through the process to get my name changed back to my maiden name, because I ain't trying to have his name to be my last name. And I would try my best to see if there was a way to get my children's last name changed too, because I'm pretty sure they have his last name. Goodbye, I ain't got time. But every time you look up, all of a sudden, like I didn't understand, y'all. All of a sudden, she was just speaking out against him. And I'm like, oh, are you mad because these other women have decided to come forward? Like, what is this about? Is this a payoff? Because she trying to make it seem like, I don't know what y'all talking about. The money been dried up. The money was dried up years ago. He hasn't given me child support in I don't know how long. I don't know if I believe that. I don't know if I believe that because she was acting quite sweet. Unless it just dried up all the way now. But when she was saying it before, she was trying to make it seem like the money dried up. I can't do it. And I mean, like I said before, and y'all know it, almost, if not every single last one of these girls, they saw him, they saw opportunity, they wanted to be starstruck on top of that. And they were like, oh, he can get my singing career off the ground. Oh, he can get my acting career off the ground. Oh, he can get my dancing career off the ground. And he saw them and he saw, ooh, what lewd sex acts am I going to do with this person? Ooh, I can't wait to set this camera up to have sex with them. Ooh, I can't wait to make them start calling me daddy. And I'm just like, why y'all acting like y'all don't know the news? And that's the thing, almost every single person said, oh, I saw the news, I saw this, I saw that. But y'all wanna be like, woe is me. I am terribly sorry that these things happen. I'm not condoning what he did. But at the same time, I'm just saying that a lot of these people entered into the agreement with him thinking that he was going to, get their careers off the ground. If they were going to, be with him, it's fine. I got to do what I got to do. So I just felt like this whole thing was very crazy. It's still crazy. And he hasn't been punished as he should. Only thing that he's been punished with is no radio play and all that stuff. Like, I mean, I'm pretty sure that's hurting him. But no. And like I said before, Aaliyah's mama is trash. Just about everybody who has helped him is trash. Because this dude could barely read and write, and he had all these moving parts. He ain't come up with all this stuff on his own. He just didn't. So y'all trash for that. Because y'all could have prevented a lot of these girls from ever dealing with him. And then, like, it was one girl that was trying to help. I think somebody was trying to help Jocelyn get away one time. They actually helped her to get away. Somebody caught her while she was running down the street, and then they brought her back. So I'm just like, come on now. Come on. Like, this is too much. I wouldn't want nothing to do with him. He is not all that. He just really is not. And these people were like super fans and starstruck, and they just saw dollar signs and fame dancing like sugar plum fairies in their head. And I'm just like, y'all gonna have to find another way because this thing got ridiculous. So anyway, y'all, that's my take and my recap and all that on Surviving R. Kelly parts 5 and 6. I hope y'all have enjoyed. Y'all can go down in the comment section and let me know what y'all thought about it and if you did watch it and all that good stuff. I hope y'all have a wonderful Sunday. Bye.